This episode of the Dungeoncast has been brought to you by Hero Forge. Hero Forge has fully customizable tabletop miniatures with dozens of fantasy races and thousands of parts to choose from. Their easy-to-use design tool lets you build the perfect miniature online using a fully 3D in-depth character creator right in your web browser. There are plastic and metal options for your custom mini. And Hero Forge even offers downloadable model files for users to 3D print their unique designs at home. Plus, they're constantly expanding the catalog of customization options. They're adding new parts every week and major features like races and custom posing on a regular basis. All you have to do is go to heroforge.com and you can start designing your custom mini today. It's super easy. Hero Forge is running a sale from November 25th to December 2nd. Be sure to enter promo code Dungeoncast to receive $5 off your first physical miniature. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Will.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons & Dragons, from hardy homunculi to handy hawks, and today we're talking about Hydras.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Will.
How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I have a slight cough, so I apologize to the audience.
Man, I think I gave you my cough. I had a cough for like a month.
Quite possible. I feel fine otherwise, but it's just an annoying cough. I'll try and minimize it as much as I can as we go over the Hydra.
I'll try to do more posts than I normally would.
Okay, sounds good. So, the Hydra. What do you know about Hydras, Brian?
I watched Hercules once.
Okay, the Disney's Hercules?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good one.
And I saw the trailers for the one the one with Liam Neeson and Brad Pitt or whatever.
Liam Neeson and Brad Pitt.
Am I mixing that up? Okay, there's one with Liam Neeson where he's like, release the Kraken.
Oh, that's Clash of the Titans.
Everybody did that for like a few years.
I know.
And then,
I remember. I was there.
Or they said like, this is Sparta or whatever.
That's a totally different movie.
That was Gerard Butler.
All right.
Okay, that's
so not much. Not much is what I'm gathering.
They're like a tangy black, and they have lots of heads. And if you cut off a head, more heads grow.
Okay, so you have some facts in there.
Yeah.
So
the only way to kill it is to suffocate it, or
no,
to put it in a vat of acid.
We'll cover that.
Okay.
So in D&D, Hydras are huge reptilian monsters, infamous for their many heads and their regenerative abilities. Though quite dragon-like in appearance and in power, Hydras are not related to any creatures that fall into the dragon category, or at least if they are related, it is so distantly related as to be inconsequential.
Okay.
If anything, Hydras look to be a strange mix of serpent, crocodile, and drake.
Serpent, crocodile, and drake.
Right.
Okay.
If anything, that's what I would say.
Serpents and crocodiles are pretty, I mean, they're close enough looking.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, they're reptiles, right?
Yes.
And they can be amphibious together. And they're
true.
One just has like a really elongated version of the other's jaw.
Well, I would argue that they have very different like jaw and skull like shapes.
Yeah, I mean, when you're comparing animals, I mean, one of them's got legs. I understand that they're not the same creature.
Yeah, I just think that they have different types of features. So
yeah.
Right. So the Hydra is a very classic D&D monster, and it's one of my favorites. It's one I like to throw at my players whenever I can.
Well, you've never thrown it at me.
Yes, and maybe I will one day.
Ooh.
It'll be some futuristic cyber Hydra.
Space Hydras.
It is directly based off the Greek mythological creature known as the Lernaean Hydra.
Okay, so pretty much the same name.
Pretty much.
What was the first word you said?
Lernaean.
Lernaean.
Yeah. So the Lernaean Hydra was a serpentine water monster from Greek/Roman mythology, and more exactly part of the mythos of the Greek hero Hercules, or Heracles, if you're going by his actual original name. Hercules was how the Romans pronounced it due to a translation issue.
Yeah.
So the Hydra was said to be the offspring of Typhon and Echidna, who were both fearsome god-level monster-type beings responsible for birthing many of the famed Greek mythological monstrosities that you know of today. The Hydra dwelt within the lake of Lerna, thus its name, the Lernaean Hydra. It's said to be an entrance to the underworld. So it was said to have poisonous breath and had blood so virulent that even its scent was deadly.
Ooh,
yeah.
Yes, that was a thing. I did listen to like a lore pod. Now that you're talking about this,
right?
It's dredging up old memories of a lore podcast I listened to where they detailed the adventures of Hercules.
Oh, for sure.
I binged it, so there were so many of them. But I remember that being an issue for him. When you go to fight the Hydra, you have to like hold your breath while you fight it, or you'll die.
Yeah, or you'll die. Yeah. So, excuse me. It possessed many heads. The exact number varies from source to source. Some sources say the Hydra had 9 heads. Some say it had 50 heads. Others just leave the number of heads ambiguous.
Well, because that depends on who fought it and who fucked up, right? Like, if you went in there and cut off a bunch of Hydra heads and then died, shouldn't there be more than there were
Well, what I
originally?
mean is with the telling of Hercules,
Yeah.
the number of heads varies depending on who's telling the story.
Yes, because of what I just said.
I guess so.
Surely,
yeah, sure.
it has to be
It
that.
has to be that reason.
Yes.
Okay. For sure.
Doesn't that sound like a tavern story? Like how, like when somebody questions you, like, I heard it was 9 heads.
I heard it was 50 heads.
No, it changes because it depends on what time you're talking about it.
Exactly.
there
There
you
we
go.
go. So it also was said to have miraculous regenerative abilities. For every head chopped off, the Hydra would grow 2 more in its place. So which is quite the problem, considering the creature was anywhere from 50% to 90% head and neck. So you don't have a lot of other places to strike.
Right. Do you think that's a pleasurable thing for the Hydra?
No,
like,
it can't be.
it's
There's no fucking way.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
gotta
good
be
to get your head
extremely
caught off.
painful.
Yeah, because you got your head caught off the bat, right? But growing it back and then growing 2 back.
I'm just saying, like, okay, I don't know about you, but me as a young child, like ages, 4 to 8, I went through growing pains in my legs. And it was fucking agonizing.
Yeah, not good. Imagine having a year of it all at once.
Yeah, exactly.
So the heads probably aren't the same size. They like tree branch off each other because you cut it off from the same like neck place. So you have that surface area to work with when you're growing back 2 heads.
I suppose the heads should get smaller.
Unless the body's expanding too.
No, it shouldn't be.
None of this should be happening.
None of this should be happening. So the slaying of the Lernaean Hydra was to be the second labor of Heracles. And he was called upon to perform it by some king. I don't really remember. He ends up plunging into the swamp containing the lake Lerna. He covers his mouth and nose with a cloth to protect him from the Hydra's poisonous fumes, which we kind of just talked about. He shot flaming arrows into the Hydra's lair to lure the creature out and confront the beast in melee combat. He then did the most obvious thing to do and began to cleave the Hydra's necks in twain.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Heracles, the creature's reaction to this is a quote from Wikipedia, and I loved it, so I had to include it. So Wikipedia quote incoming: the creature's reaction to decapitation was botanical. Fucking amazing.
Botanical.
I love
like
it.
A vine.
Like a vine. Like plants. Plants
like
grow.
Cut a tree branch off.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So 2 heads grew back for everyone lost. Heracles was forced to retreat, and now the Hydra was way stronger than before he showed up.
But
yeah, so in the end, it was Aeolus, the nephew of Heracles, who figured out how to slay the monster. The 2 returned to the Hydra's lair, and this time Heracles cleft a neck in twain, and Aeolus rushed in with a firebrand and cauterized the creature's neck to prevent it from regenerating.
Ooh.
So there's a bit more to the story, but to sum it all up, despite killing the Hydra, Heracles was denied success in this labor by Hera since he did not achieve it alone.
Right, and didn't he end up getting poisoned by it, and then someone had to save his life? Did I remember that correctly?
I don't know, because I stopped reading at that point.
Oh, okay.
But
somebody got poisoned.
Let's say yes.
All right, sure.
All right. So in many ways, the D&D version of the Hydra is similar, but in some editions, it's kind of a toned down version of the Greek Hydra. In other editions, it's toned up, so it varies a little bit.
All right.
So it's depicted as a reptilian horror with a crocodilian body and multiple dragon-like heads on the ends of long serpentine necks. Cool. At full growth, they average about 30 feet long and 3,000 pounds. So that's 9 meters and 1,300 kilos for everyone outside of the U.S.
Thank you, Will.
No problem.
That's very kind.
Yeah, I try and remember when I can, and I beat myself up every time I forget.
We want to be inclusive on the show.
Their scales vary in color from mottled green and yellows to dusty browns. They have between 5 and 12 heads. Not all editions include the head regeneration power, but 5th edition does. There are also multiple subtypes of Hydra that vary in both appearance and abilities, which we will cover later in the episode.
Very D&D.
Very D&D. So like many creatures in Dungeons & Dragons, the Hydra's origins vary in speculation depending on edition and setting. 5e states that at the dawn of time, the Queen of Dragons herself, Tiamat, slew a rival dragon deity named Lernaea. Here we go with the Lernaean Hydra again. The wounds from her felling scattered her blood across the universe, and each droplet of blood that fell upon the world spawned into a multi-headed Hydra, consumed by hunger as great as the fallen goddess herself.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So 4E's origin story is incredibly similar to that, but a little bit different. In time immemorial, the gods clashed with the Primordials for dominion over the cosmos. One of these Primordials was a monstrous entity named Bryaceus.
Okay.
I think that's how you pronounce that.
Bryaceus.
When this many-headed primordial was slain, it is said Hydra sprang from his spilled blood, and due to the elemental origins, many 4E Hydras have various breath weapons.
The energies of the elemental plane cause a cellular
There's a
reaction.
lot of elemental chaos stuff in 4E, and I love it. And we don't have as much of that in 5E, and I'm hoping they bring some of it back.
When do you think that might be? It doesn't seem like it's coming at this point.
At this point, 5E puts stuff pretty slowly. So
yeah, because it looks like they're going for like a 10-year edition or more, right? Like
I think more. Because I think after second edition, 3 and 4 only each. I think 3.5 probably lasted about 10-ish years, and 4E only lasted like 8 years tops.
Okay.
So I think they're going for like a 15, 20 year.
And 5E is generally liked. I mean,
oh yeah, no, it's
tell.
definitely well received.
So
and it should be.
There's no reason. Didn't like 30 years go by between editions in some case?
I think
From
first edition was from the early 70s to the early 90s. So about 20 years for the first edition, and then about 15 for the second, 10 for the third. Yeah, it's like
okay.
Yeah, each half-life gets a little shorter.
Yeah, so I can see why they've got all these different settings. They're putting out the books, kind of like alternating which settings are getting stories.
Right.
So that's kind of cool.
So Forgotten Realms posits that Hydras evolved from a species called Proto Dragons, which are a prehistoric reptilian monster halfway between dinosaurs and true dragons.
Holy shit, what?
Yeah.
Halfway between... Wait, are you telling me that dragons are like the spawn of dinosaurs?
Welcome to continuity bullshit that is Forgotten Realms.
What? Hang on a second.
Are they evolved from dinosaurs, or did Tiamat and Bahamut create them?
From dinosaurs.
From dinosaurs.
Okay.
Are Bahamut and Tiamat dinosaur gods?
Oh, what?
That it just stops making sense after a while.
They're dinosaur. They're like, okay, we're gonna do our first try at making kin, and it's bad, and it's so bad it looks like dinosaurs, and they're like, damn it, we got to do it again, and then they just keep practicing until they can finally get it to look kind of like them. That's all I gotta say. Pro gamer tips.
Indeed. All right. So when it comes to the behavior of the common Hydra, they are essentially big, dumb alpha predators with a whopping intelligence score of only 2, which again, as we've discussed in previous episodes, is 1 above a rock.
Right.
Or 2 above a rock, really.
So it can function.
Yeah, because if a rock has 1 intelligence, I'm a little nervous about that rock.
Yeah, I can't breathe. Rocks don't need to breathe. And if they could, would they? Because they're so stupid?
Right.
All right.
So Hydras are aggressive, gluttonous, and violent monsters. When they carve out a territory, they devour all available food sources to the point of extinction. Once the Hydra is fed upon or driven off all available prey, it moves on to greener pastures to repeat the process. So most Hydras can continue this cycle unimpeded, as they have pretty much no natural predators besides one, dragons.
Oh, okay.
Dragons, for some strange reason, find Hydra flesh to be delicious and will not hesitate to feast upon one if the opportunity presents itself.
Cool.
So outside of
they
this,
can bite its head off and just like leave. And
that's
then,
true.
like,
It's infinite food.
Wow, that's pretty good.
It's one way to look at it. Outside of this, though, few singular creatures in the wild are capable of challenging a Hydra's dominion over its territory.
Can you imagine like a really, really successful dragon that's like enslaved a Hydra? And
Oh
that's
yeah,
how
definitely.
It just,
Definitely.
Like, I'm so powerful because I'm so well fed.
Right. And like the Hydra that you're keeping to eat upon can also double as a guard to your lair.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Right. You just keep it chained up.
I have my entrance chamber is a prison cell for a Hydra.
But it's also a pantry.
It's also, yes, it is 2 things.
It's 2 things at once. And with that, let's take a short rest.
Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to the part of the episode. We're not talking about the last thing anymore. We're going to talk about new stuff, and it's love. Love for you from Will. Here we go.
Love you guys.
Love you guys too. Let's, for listening to the show and for just being yourselves.
just being you.
You're so damn cool. Me and Will want to be like you.
Damn cool.
There's some people that we're going to thank in particular. The big ones start off the top of the list. Not that any of you are more important than anyone else.
Yeah, this is not ordered.
This is somebody we talk to in Discord, I think pretty often.
Oh,
but hey, /382.
Hey, /382. We do talk to you plenty.
I'm pretty sure he changed his name in Discord.
Yeah. I think he's Demogorgon Worshipper 382.
That's a pretty classic Dungeoncast person name. Kelsey Malone.
Thanks, Kelsey.
Pretty sure I already shouted Kelsey Malone out.
Thanks again, Kelsey.
Thanks, Dale Brady.
Thanks, Dale.
Doug Pike.
Thanks, Doug.
Anxiety disorder.
Thank you, anxiety disorder.
Jonathan Fernandez.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Super Gerbil.
Thank you, Super Gerbil.
Lasse Broly.
Thank you, Lasse Broly. Did I say it right?
Did I say it right?
That's a good question.
Corey Bergen.
Thanks, Corey.
Christopher Michael Severo.
Thank you, Christopher.
I think I'll just do my, I'm going to lean into the boxer announcer.
Do you, man?
So next time in 2 weeks, it's going to be Buck Wild in here in a short rest. Hey, congratulations to Salamander Scott on Instagram, who won our contest, Eberron Rising from the Last War.
They probably have their book already.
They
no?
do. I one day shipped it to them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they confirmed they got it. So
cool beans.
Thanks a lot for participating. Yeah, we did have somebody on Instagram win this time. I think the entries were closer to even than normal.
To happen. Yeah, the Instagram entries have been slowly rising.
Yes,
higher and higher.
Yes, and we got a lot of emails. You guys were included in the. We rolled a random number generation like die or whatever, like out of
some wild number.
Yeah, out of all of you guys that entered. So thanks a lot. We really appreciate everybody spreading the word about Super Quest Saga. That really helps that show in particular. Indeed. It also helps this show because like it's Super Quest Saga. Yeah, we're one and the same.
They're affiliated.
They're definitely affiliated, as me and Will are in both of them and produce both of them.
It's true.
So yeah, I mean, do we have anything? Whoa, I'm glad that didn't happen during one of our lights just randomly went off. I think Will probably kicked something.
It was me.
It's okay. Do we have anything we need to talk about?
I don't think so. You know what? Let's keep it short and sweet today.
Let's get back to the show.
We love you guys.
Check out Patreon. Bye.
Have we returned yet? Are we back?
We've returned.
All right. Well, let's continue in our lesson about Hydras. Hydras are natural swimmers. It's kind of in their name, Hydra.
Well, yeah, because like its OG location was the gate to hell in a lake.
In a lake, yeah, exactly. So
stuff that guards the gates to hell are rad as fuck. The three-headed hound,
right? Yeah,
the Hydra.
I mean, let's be real. The Greeks really hit it out of the park when it came to their like cryptozoological like menagerie. It's fantastic.
It's the perfect guard. It has so many eyes. It can look in different directions.
So many eyes. It can look in every direction. Yeah,
they can smell everything really well.
It's true.
Well, I don't know. Possibly. Can the Hydra smell stuff?
I mean, I'm sure it can. I don't know how well.
Does it have a nose like drawn on it?
It has nostrils drawn upon its face.
So it can smell. It can smell as many times better, more good.
It's got more range. It definitely has more range on that scent. But let's actually talk about Hydras.
Let's do it.
And stop speculating about Hydras. So Hydras are natural swimmers, as I said before. And as such, they prefer habitats rich with water. So wide rivers, deep lakes, ocean coves, bogs, marshes are all prime territory in a Hydra's eyes, which, as we just said, they have a lot of those. So they can spend hours lurking beneath murky waters, slithering out of hiding to strike and devour a foe. Due to their thick hide and hardy nature, most Hydras are immune to harsh elements of storm and wind. As such, most Hydras do not have need or want of a lair for shelter. So they're just out there.
They're just out there.
They don't have a cave.
They're just chilling in a bog.
Yeah, they're just chilling in a bog. This bog is my lair.
Yeah, are Hydras ranked by like where they choose to live, like what's available?
No, but they should be.
Because like Bog Hydra sounds pretty low on the list, right?
Well, I don't know.
Like we don't travel into the bog because of the Bog Hydra. But
most
fuck
things
that guy.
with bog as the qualifier in Dungeons and Dragons are pretty fucking monstrous.
Like Froghemoth.
Like a froghemoth or like a bog hag, like that's terrifying.
There are bog hags.
There are bog
Obviously,
hags.
There are bog. God, what am I saying?
So anyways, yeah. So Hydras don't have layers and they love to swim. Is the point of everything I've said up till now.
Yeah. So if there's water around, beware of floating Hydras.
Indeed.
Can you imagine seeing one coming down like a fucking big ass river, just like soaking up some rays?
Right.
He's cracking a cold one.
Well, I mean, they can even live off the coast. So imagine your family's out having to swim, and then a Hydra just comes onto the shore and starts chasing the family.
That'd be wild if there's like a typhoon or a hurricane coming in, and a Hydra just like flops up on shore, like washes up on shore. He goes to bite you, and he gets like sucked back in by the tide.
Yeah, it's terrifying. So classically, there are 4 types of D&D Hydras. There are 4E also made up 3 extra types, which we'll cover all of them today. 5E so far has only deigned to give us the stats on the one type, the common Hydra. But as I said, there are more. So first, there is the Lernaean Hydra, which is just lifted from Greek mythology. This is essentially a super Hydra. It is identical to the common Hydra in every way, except for that it is bigger, stronger, and has better head regenerative ability.
Right.
So like I said, just the super Hydra.
It's like what they did to AOL that one time. Do you remember those commercials where they're like, we can build it
No, I don't.
Okay,
no, I don't.
Let's
Sorry.
continue.
Okay. Next is the Pyro Hydra. These hydras are reddish or orange color, or have an orangish or reddish hue to their scales.
Oh, wow. That's kind of nasty.
Yeah, I guess so. Each head is capable of breathing fire, and the creature itself is immune to fire. And the fire immunity is a bit of a hindrance due to the fact that the only way to cauterize the severed hydra's head is via fire or acid, and this eliminates the first option.
Right. So you're basically an acid boy at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So like troll killers are like, that's a great way to prep a party for a Hydra. Because like
Right.
trolls need fire or acid to stop its regen.
And so does this big son of a bitch.
That's kind of cool, the consistency there. Like, there's a lower level CR monster that will like kind of give the party practice on
Yeah, that's
fighting
true.
against regenerating creatures.
And there's a certain amount of like consistency when it comes to like, if something regenerates, fire and acid's the answer.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I like
hey,
that.
we've done this before. Like, I think
Right.
I know what to do.
Right.
Like, I'll cut that shit.
Right.
And then you acid splash it real good.
Indeed. So the next Hydra on our list is called the Cryo Hydra. Now these are Arctic dwelling Hydras that range in color from white to blue, and due to carrying layers of fat beneath their scales, are immune to cold damage.
Okay.
These Hydras are capable of breathing a cold breath attack from each of its heads.
Sweet.
So next we're going to get into the Hydras that 4E introduced.
Wait, hang on. Is the resistances for the Cryo Hydra anything special? Like
Cold.
Just cold though. Fire.
Which you
fire
weren't,
isn't
you weren't
like
probably bringing cold to that fight anyways.
No,
because
but-
you're in the cold.
right. You're bringing fire, but is
Right.
fire like double good in this?
No,
scenario?
I don't think fire's double good. But
5e really doesn't do double good.
no, it really doesn't. We need more double good in 5E.
Hey, at 5e, I'm gonna homebrew some double good in. I hope you're all right with that.
Yeah, sure. They don't care.
Nope.
So 4E introduces the Mordant Hydra, a blackish/purplish beast with 6 heads that spits acid from its mouth and is itself immune to acid. And I direct you back to what I said about the Pyro Hydra and eliminating one of the 2 options to cauterize the heads.
Is it feasible for a party to fight 2 Hydras at the same time? Like, can you
Sure.
have the acid and the fire one in
course.
there and like
I mean,
confuse everybody?
Of course you can like try.
Well,
you do your best.
Is it
Yeah.
feasible though? To, like have a challenging but winnable fight?
I mean, if the characters are high enough level.
I guess so.
So in 5e, the Hydra challenge rating is 8, so it's high but not that high.
Oh, okay. It's not
So,
like
yeah.
ridiculous.
It's feasible. We're gonna get into
Yeah.
my problems with the Hydra stat block later.
Okay.
So lastly, 4E introduced the Primordial Hydra, a gargantuan monstrosity 50 feet long with 12 heads. From its mouth, it spits acid that is also on fire, so flaming acid. This thing is thing is a campaign ender for 4E.
Oh, wow.
It is a level 25 solo brute with 1200 HP and 38 AC. Makes 8 attacks every turn.
Oh, Jesus.
That was 4E for you.
Okay.
Any other questions about Hydras before we get into some fun facts?
Is that last one bigger than the Tarrasque? Like for sure, right?
In 4E, the Tarrasque. Oh, you mean like the size, like 50 feet long?
Yeah.
I think that's roughly the same length and height.
Tarrasque, yeah, I just looked it up because now, guys, we got new cameras. I forgot to say it in the short rest, but now I can use my phone to look stuff up. And the Tarrasque is very large, 50 feet,
Indeed.
15 meters tall, and 21 meters long.
There we go.
70 feet long.
Yeah, they're about the same. Like it would be Godzilla versus what's the Dragon King with the 3 heads? What's
Hydra. I'm pretty sure.
No. In the Godzilla lore, King. What's his name? Oh my gosh,
Godzilla.
the comments are gonna blow up because I can't think of this thing's name.
What
Starts with a G. Is it Gira? No, I can't remember.
3-headed dragon.
There we go.
We're so
You're
powerful.
looking it up.
King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah. I knew it started with G. So yeah, this would be King Ghidorah versus Godzilla if you put the Primordial Hydra against the Tarrasque.
feel so
and
powerful.
now that is the campaign I want to run. Fuck Super Quest Saga.
Oh no!
I'm kidding.
We need to get to the end first, and
Indeed,
then
it's
we
true.
can have giant monster fights.
It's true. All right, so some fun facts about the Hydra. They are often sought after by adventurers, alchemists, and spellcasters due to their body parts being essential ingredients in many magic items, also potions.
Right.
Their teeth can be used to create almost unbreakable blades for tools. Their tongues can be used to predict the weather by changing colors. I don't know how that works, but okay.
Yeah, like what is the Hydra?
You put it on a pole, and when it turns blue, you know a storm's coming in.
Maybe the color changing is a side effect of something the Hydra feels. Because like, how are you looking at your tongue, man? You're an intelligence 2
I don't know.
nasty boy. Are you just like checking it in the reflection of whatever water you're in?
Hey man, I'm reading you what the books tell me.
I'm sure it just feels like it's gonna rain.
It's-
Hydra's looking at each other like it's gonna rain. It's gonna rain.
Its blood is used in healing potions and in rings of regeneration. Cryo Hydra's blood and scales can be used in making ice storm wands. Pyro Hydra blood can be used in crafting flame tongues, which is a sword, not actual tongue.
Cool.
Yeah. Another fun fact is Hydras only have one brain. And guess what? It's not in any of the skulls of their heads.
It's in its gut.
Instead, it's held in its body, protected somewhere behind its forest of necks.
So just... Okay. That's like where your shoulders meet your neck.
I mean, its brain's basically in its chest.
Yeah. That's okay. Sure. Why not?
Why not? Another fun fact, when Hydras sleep, they always leave one of their heads awake and alert, making them very difficult to sneak up on.
Okay. I mean, it can't be, they got to rotate through that, right?
I mean,
if it's one head, I'm trying to think of the logistics of like how tired I would be if I slept with one eye
remember,
open.
the heads aren't attached to, each head doesn't have a brain. So it's not like each head is a person that requires sleep.
Well, right. So if we treat it all like one thing, you're essentially sleeping with like one set of your eyes open. So if I slept with like one eye open, I would be tired still. Right.
I guess so. But when you have so many eyes, maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah. You're like mostly resting. So like he's just like if he's got 9 heads and he's like getting 1/8 or not 8/9 of the rest.
8/9 of the rest of his sleeping needs.
I mean, that's enough for me.
I suppose so.
Okay.
I got one last fun fact. If the Hydra goes long enough without food, its heads will turn on each other, devouring each other until only one is left.
And then it'll regrow.
Well, no, I suppose if they devour each other, they won't grow back. They'll just have the one head.
Uh-oh. And then it needs an adventurer to come along and
exactly.
cut its head off.
Exactly. At that point, it's probably in trouble anyways because it was hungry enough to eat its own heads. Like, what the fuck's it going to eat now?
Yeah. And like, why are you struggling so bad for food? Did you like get stranded out in the middle of nowhere? Is everything okay, Will?
The stat block blew away in the wind. Any other questions before we jump into the stat block of the Hydra?
I want to know about the stat block for the Hydra.
Okay, so real quick, the only problem I have with the Hydra stat block, it has nothing to do with the block itself. The stat block's fine. Why do we only have this one Hydra? Like, where's my Primordial Hydra? Like, where's my Super Hydra? Where's my flame breathing and my ice breathing Hydra?
Wait a second. Where did you get those from if you don't have a stat block?
Previous editions, my friend. Yeah, so.
Okay, that's kind of starting to add up because I'm like, this doesn't sound like
what's in the monster manual.
We have so many different types of things for like, we have a dragon for each like kind of area type almost.
Yeah, sure.
And we have a giant for each area type almost.
Sure. Yeah.
And that kind of makes sense because there were giants and it must be like good to roam over all these types. And then the dragons came and they warred, right? And now dragons are the top dog. Well, will one day Hydras war against the dragons because but no, this kind of like. Right, like it's Fall from Grace story with.
I guess so, yeah. My point is like, again, the Hydra is only challenge rating 8 and a Hydra is a big bad beast and it just doesn't feel great that I can't throw a Hydra at like a bunch of level 12. You know what I mean?
It's just not that high.
It's just not that high, no. Like a UNT, what are they called? The abomination? No, not abominations. The Athemas or whatever they're called.
Okay.
They're the big UNT that are single snake body with like 6 snake heads. Like that's challenge rating 11.
Okay.
I just feel like a Hydra should be higher. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, yes. This challenge rating like because of the lore associated with it,
right? And
it's like magnitude of like this big powerful beast. It should be close to dragon rating. This should be up in the 15,
right? Or we should have the Hydra here at 8 and a Primordial Hydra at like a 15.
There we go. Yeah. It's like, oh well, here are the like small drops that became Hydras, and they're just like the grunt men.
And then a little variant template like we do for like Shadow Dragons or Draco Liches, where it's like you can make it a Cryo Hydra, just add these things, or you can make it a Pyro Hydra, just add these things.
It's kind of an interesting stat block if you want to throw a like a horde, like if you want to fight like waves of
these are the mobs.
Yeah, like this Hydra is a mob, right? Like I'm sure you're gonna read me a multi-attack stat block that's insane.
In order for Challenge Rating 8 to be mob, we'd have to be talking about like level 18 characters.
For a Hydra to be a mob, maybe we're thinking about like mobs in different ways. Like how big is a mob?
Well, when you talk about like mobs, that's like it's a MMO term that means like wipe up enemies that like, goblins, orcs. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like maybe this is just a stand-in for a mob, but that is a singular monster.
It is itself yes. It is many mobs because like mobs is a singular term taken from MMO. Even though I know the word mobs means a group of people.
Sure.
Right. So I understand what you're saying. Let's actually talk about the stat block.
Yeah, let's do it.
So like it's a challenge rating 8. We're looking at an armor class of 15, 172 HP.
Okay.
Strength of 20. Dexterity 12. Constitution of 20. Holy shit.
That's pretty good.
It's all beef and no brains because in Intelligence, like I said, is a 2. Wisdom is a 10. Charisma is a 7. Honestly, that's way higher charisma than I think they deserve, but
it's not good. It's still bad.
It is still quite poor. They have a ability called Hold Breath. The Hydra can hold its breath for 1 hour. Multiple heads. The Hydra has 5 heads. While it has more than 1 head, the Hydra has advantage on saving throws against being blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, stunned, or knocked unconscious. Whenever the Hydra takes 25 or more damage in a single turn, one of its heads dies. If all heads die, the Hydra dies. At the end of its turn, it grows 2 heads for each of its heads that died since its last turn, unless it has taken fire damage since the last turn. See, they don't even mention acid. The Hydra regains 10 hit points for each head regrown this way.
Okay, so the regeneration is on a clock, and it's not like a reaction-based thing where I cut the head and 2 immediately sprout.
Right.
It's at the end of the turn.
Yeah. And again, if you cut off all heads, it is dead.
So basically you have to cut off 3 before you have to destroy 3 heads to make progress per round.
No, because if
you destroy 3 and
it'll
2
grow 6 back.
Oh, for each head that you destroy,
for
2
each
will
head
grow back.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. No, it doesn't grow 2 heads each time. It's 2 for every head that died.
Oh, okay.
Unless
So this
you
is
use fire.
more like a reaction-based thing.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
So that's like how that's like the Hercules one. It was
Right,
pretty
exactly.
accurate to this description.
It has a feature called Reactive Heads. For each head the Hydra has beyond 1, it gets an extra reaction that can be used only for opportunity attacks. But that's still pretty potent.
I mean, you don't want to back off it without disengaging.
Yeah.
If you're to that point in the fight, you could die by just trying to get out of the way.
Right. And it can keep hitting every member of the party that tries to get away.
It's like the piranha plant multi-attack in Smash Brothers. It's like just got this head like chomping you a bunch of times.
Exactly. So final feature is called Wakeful. When a Hydra sleeps, at least one of its head is awake. Mm-hmm. And then finally, its actions are pretty simple. It can bite, and it can bite you many times. Multi-attack. The Hydra makes as many bites attacks as it has heads.
Okay.
The bite does 1d10 plus 5 piercing damage, plus 8 to hit, which is pretty good. Reach of 10 feet. I actually think that reach should be 15, but that's just me.
Reach of 10 feet. Yeah, 15. I mean, it's a big creature, right?
Yeah, let me see. I think it's huge. Yeah, it is huge monstrosity. Unaligned.
I mean, 10 is still a lot. But when you think about it, like, my bugbear has 10 foot reach.
Right, exactly.
Versus like my Hydra has 10 foot reach. Yeah. Shouldn't it really be like 15?
15,
yeah.
Exactly. Well, any other questions about the Hydra?
I want to do more conversation at the end of the episode about like how do you feel this monster should be implemented in your campaign?
So,
like, how would you use a Hydra? What's your favorite? What's your favorite like?
Classically, I like to use the Hydra as a final boss to like a story arc, but for me, the Hydra is always used as a much like Hades from the Disney's Hercules. How like the Hydra is just one of its many pawns that moves forward on the board.
Right.
That's how I tend to use Hydras. Hydras are a tool used by a greater, more like intelligent evil.
Yes.
It's
just a big stupid
heroes.
beast.
Yeah.
And it guards a gate.
Exactly.
To hell, like
or it gets fucking summoned from like the pits of hell and rises up and like attacks the.
Yeah, party, it's a great alarm. Like instead of like it's the equivalent to something like a god to like tying a string with bells on it for somebody to trip over. You know what I mean? Like, oh, somebody beat my Hydra and got in. So now I know at the base level of somebody I'm dealing with now. Right. Somebody powerful enough to beat a Hydra and like move forward.
Indeed.
Okay, so that's cool.
That's how I classically use them, yeah.
I really liked my idea of a dragon trapping one for infinite noms.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, again, having a Hydra in a Dragon's Lair is great. I love the Godzilla versus King, I can't remember his name again. Ghidorah.
I think that was it.
That would be amazing. I would love to run that as a one-shot.
Ghidorah.
So, like, Tarask, Primordial Hydra, one city, a party in that city trying to figure out how the fuck to deal with this problem.
It sounds like you could dry it out. Like it needs to be near water, right? Like
no, it doesn't need to be. It just likes water.
It just likes water.
Yeah.
I was thinking like it would be a cool feature to add on. That's like it needs to be moist.
Yeah, I guess you could have that where
for every day spent out of the water, it loses 10 movement speed.
I can see that.
It's just drier now.
It's just drier now.
Just like trying to rob your shop for lotion.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of like one randomly, like, so there's a scene that you probably do as a dungeon master where you're out at sea on a ship and your party rolls perception because like if you see like a big ass tentacle come out of ocean water, like kind of off the distance and go back and you're like, oh fuck, the Kraken's coming.
Yeah.
It could be the same thing, but with one big ass head coming up for air.
Right.
And it just like, and then it looks over and sees you. And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. I like that.
Like it's always the Kraken like wrapping the boat, right?
Right. Why not the Hydra?
Why not the Hydra?
No,
that's
a really good point.
Fucking looks you in the face and then like 10 more heads emerge out of the water.
And I like the idea that you could do a fake out where it's like you're out at sea, you see something that looks like a tentacle, you're like, oh shit, it's a Kraken. And then 12 heads come out. You're like, oh fuck, it's a Primordial Hydra.
It's a fucking Hydra, yeah. And fighting from a boat is like a totally different story every time. Yeah,
absolutely.
I like boat fights. Golden Sun does a really great one where you get mobbed by like creatures that come over the deck and like the Kraken comes out and you got to fight that, and it's like got half its face up on the deck of the boat, and you got to like stab it.
Yeah,
Tentacles
Final Fantasy does
down.
stuff like that too.
Exactly, those are great.
Those are fun.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with the Hydra. I think I would either I think it would make it more like a random encounter than like a set one in my campaign.
Yeah,
I like the one like floating along the river. That was scary.
And
as
it
fuck.
makes sense too. Like Hydras are creatures that are found in the wild, so like you would randomly encounter one in the wild.
And that's a cool plot hook. Like one villager saw a Hydra floating down this river and it wound up at the lake and now no one can fish.
Yeah.
Because they all died.
Indeed. And with that being said, I think we can get ready for a long rest.
Let's do it.
And before we go, I just want to encourage everyone to go check out our D&D 5e live play, Super Quest Saga. We play it here. It's on YouTube. It's its own podcast. You can just look it up. Super Quest Saga. Super Quest is one word. And it's us here at the Dungeoncast playing D&D in space, in the future. It's a mixture of sci-fi and fantasy, and it's a lot of fun.
I'm a warlock.
Yeah, he's a warlock.
We're getting to
in the future.
Yes, we're getting to a cool place in Carter's. I took some liberties with his backstory because everybody kind of already told their backstory except for me. So we're finally going to get the full backstory in like the next couple episodes we're going to record.
I'm excited.
Or have recorded. I'm not sure. I have to look at what the placement is because they only show up when there's a certain way the episode ends. But
it's true.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Come see Jake and Freeland play with us. They're a Furbolg druid and a half-orc paladin. Really buff characters.
Indeed.
We got a merch store. If you're watching if you're watching on YouTube, you should be able to like go look at the shirt
right below. Yeah. If not, check out the link in the description. It'll
links
take
in the
you to our
description.
Teespring shop.
Yeah, and thanks for everybody who's reaching out for ad inquiries and stuff. I haven't gotten to everything quite yet, but we will be getting there soon. So hang tight. If you're messaging us on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, just hang tight. We'll get to you eventually. And yeah, I don't have anything else. We don't have any contests or anything coming up.
No, not currently.
Soon.
Maybe after Christmas.
Maybe after Christmas.
And I guess with that being said, we can call it a game.
Let's call it a game.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye. The Dungeoncast. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Will.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons and Dragons, from hardy homunculi to handy hawks. And today we're talking about the thing Will told me about already.
You forgot.
Hydras.
Hydras.